Hello and welcome in today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about the food swaps and some general rules of what you should eliminate in your diet if you have PCOS and what you should be eating more of. So stay tuned. Right, the main premise of this video is to help you give you a few tips of the most common things I noticed that people eat that should be probably eliminated from their diets as one of the first things. Some of those things we really don't think about as bad, but for us with PCOS, they might not give us the best results. Now, super important thing is to know that 70% of women with PCOS have insulin resistance. So a lot of those products that I will be talking about are going to be high glycemic, if you want to call them, food products. So we are going to try to find a little bit better swaps or possibly even eliminate them. So we're going to start with something that is very, very obvious and something that you should actually eliminate from your diet first. So first thing that has to go, we're going to put a little arrow down, is going to be sweet drinks. And by that, I mean all sweet drinks that you drink. So not only soda, but also if you use sugar in your coffee, also if you use sugar in your tea, all the liquid calories that come from sugar should go. So Starbucks, sweetened with sugar, goes out of the window. Your cola, your Fanta, your sugar in your coffee, basically pure sugar is the first thing that has to go. Now, what you can swap it with? Sweeteners, yeah? You're going to swap it with sweeteners, or you're going to swap it with zero drinks. Now, are the zero drinks super healthy? No. However, it is better than for us with PCOS to be on the roller coaster of carbs. So for now, if we're talking about managing PCOS, swapping for the sweeteners is going to be a better option. Opt for something that's a little bit more healthy, maybe sweetened with stevia. Maybe if you really don't like stevia, try to drink something sweetened with xylitol or erythritol, even better. I found that erythritol has the least weird taste. However, it still has half of the calories, so you have to take it under consideration when you're eating it. And especially with xylitol, you have to be very careful, especially at the beginning, because it can give you stomach upset. Now, another thing you're going to want to eliminate is going to be sweets. So by sweets, I mean chocolate, jelly beans, jelly babies, whatever you call them, and all sorts of lollipops, ice cream, and you name it, right? Pretty clear why, of course, as well as sweetened stuff. Now, there's so many alternatives right now that you shouldn't have a big problem with that. Buy zero if you have to. You can buy, like protein ice cream, especially if you're in States. There's so many. You can buy keto ice cream. You can buy basically low glycemic stuff, right? So if you can't be perfect. I'm not saying from tomorrow on you should eat spinach, breakfast, lunch and dinner. But try to swap, satisfy your sweet tooth with something that is sweetened with the sweeteners. Now, fruit. The thing here is that you can first swap sweets for fruit. But some fruit more than the others have a lot of sugar in them. Now, I know that a lot of people is going to come at me about fruit because it's fructose, it's not glucose, blah, blah. Listen. Me, having the most part of insulin resistance, I was eating 2 kilograms of apples because I thought they were healthy. And I couldn't stop. So it still put me into this carb roller coaster. And especially with fructose, from what I read before, is the problem with fructose is when it goes to your bloodstream, it doesn't act totally like glucose. Like you have to use it up very quickly, otherwise it goes straight to your fat. So nobody wants that, right? So I'm not saying don't eat fruit altogether. I'm saying maybe opt for a little bit low glycemic fruit. So, for example, for berries are really good. Blueberries, strawberries, watermelon because it's very watery. Try to avoid stuff like bananas. Very sweet melons, apples. This type of stuff that are basically sugar. People say that fruits are really good for you, but fruits are really good for you only if they're organic. Like apparently. Apple used to have something like 25 times more vitamin C than it now has. So one apple away won't keep the doctor away anymore. Now, Another thing that will be good thing to eliminate is rice. Guys, rice has higher glycemic index than sugar. So it means that, again, it gives you this big sugar, spike, and then you crush. So very, very important thing, try to avoid rice. If you really have to have rice, try to have full corn brown rice, but we all know it's disgusting. Rather swap it for something like quinoa, or beans or lentils, something like that still has carbs, but has also much more fiber. So it's slower releasing, but also has a protein, which will help you balance your sugar a little bit better. Another thing, potatoes, and this hurts my heart. And don't get me wrong, potatoes are better than sweet drinks, right? So if you have to opt for sweets versus potatoes, go for potatoes, of course. But potatoes, again, very simple carbs. At least they have potassium, so there are some benefits to eating potatoes. I'm not saying that, but especially if you feel like you're on the sugar roller coaster that a lot of us are, reducing at least the amount of potatoes will be very, very beneficial. Now, pastries, same principle. Pastries / breads. Very simple carbs, sugar high, sugar low. So we're going to get rid of them. You can, again, try and swap them. Now you have all of those keto breads, keto tortillas, swap it for that if you really have to. But you will see that eventually, your craving for them will subside, because don't forget that craving for carbs is the result of insulin resistance. When you have a healthy body, you don't crave sugar as much, because craving sugar is very often depletion in potassium. And potassium is in everything like green vegetables and stuff like that. So, well, it is a little bit in potatoes, but I guess it just evens it out. And having enough potassium should kill the craving for sweets. So wouldn't it be great not craving all of those stuff? It's possible. I was a person who was eating only that and nothing that I'm going to put on the other side, and I made it somehow. And the worst thing for many people, pasta. And I would say you can swap it for cognac pasta. Don't, it's disgusting. Pasta has to go. Zucchini, maybe pasta. I don't know. I just changed my eating habits for them not to incorporate pasta. And again, I'm not saying that you can't have any of those things ever. I'm just saying try to minimize them as much as you can, and you will definitely see the difference, and do it gradually. Now, what are you going to want to increase? And we know what I'm going to say first, vegetables. Now, there's a lot of good ways of making vegetables. And I've talked about it before, how to start incorporating. I used to hate vegetables, guys. I used to freaking hate vegetables. And what I did first, I started to do Thai curries, where I actually drowned those, paprikas and mushrooms in like a lot of coconut milk and Thai curry. Worked like a dream. And then eventually I was, I like this kind of like soft cooked vegetables. So then I was frying them with a lot of oil and spices. That worked. Then I still didn't like salads, so I put these types of vegetables on the salad. That worked. And then eventually I graduated to fresh salads, and I absolutely love fresh salads. Tonight I'm gonna have a little tabbouleh, by the way, with quinoa. By the way, that's a little different, just for a little higher protein right there. Another thing that people actually don't think about is actually increase good fats. We, at least when I was a teenager, we were living in the era of being scared of fat. Like eating fat was gonna make you fat, and it's not really the case. And for us, especially with insulin problems, fats are actually a little bit better source of energy, because they keep you full for longer, and they stabilize your blood sugar. They don't release insulin as much as carbs would. Everything that you eat will make you, release a little bit of insulin, but not closely as much as carbs do. Super, super important. Now, another thing with it is going to be protein. So when you look at the, for example, pasta dish, right? The majority of your eating is really carbs. On top of it, you might have some meat, carbonara, I don't know. You might have some meat and some cream. Someone was going to kill me. There's cream or egg. I don't know. You shouldn't have that. This is American/Polish version of carbonara. But the other ingredients are quite small in comparison to what you have carbs. You should reverse that. You should actually have more fats and protein. If you're insulin resistant, then you have carbs in grams, right? Because like your salad is going to be huge and it's still going to have quite a few carbs. So you should definitely opt for dishes that are more like fish and salad, meat and salad. Doesn't have to be salad always. You can have tabbouleh, you can have boiled vegetables, baked vegetables, grilled vegetables. Put them in a sauce, put them in a Thai curry. Why not? And this way also you have good fats from coconut milk if you put it in Thai curry. And you put some chicken on it or whatever. Now you can also start eating beans. I mean, of course, if you want to be full keto or full low carb, that is not going to be the best option. But if we're just talking all about alternative to rice and potatoes, beans and lentils actually are going to be good alternative. Some stuff, like I said, quinoa, for example, is a bit higher in protein than rice or couscous is. So that might also be a good alternative. Then you're going to eat, which is kind of subcategory, but I thought I'm going to include that, fish, because especially fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and so on, and sardines. You don't have to like all of them, just choose one. And this is going to also increase your omega-3 intake, which is anti-inflammatory and helps you with a lot of, even if you have high cholesterol, it helps you lower that cholesterol, and it's generally very good for the body. It helps it heal as well. And very often we have a lot of inflammation also that we don't know about. It's not only like I have joint pain or I have stomach pain, but it might be something like you have fat inflammation in your fatty tissue as well. And the last thing, you might increase the amount of eggs that you're eating. Eggs are a great source of a lot of vitamins in a lot of good fatty acids. They actually are not supposed to higher your cholesterol anymore. That's the latest version. So those are the basic food swaps, what I would recommend to eliminate and what I would recommend to incorporate. And guys, I am not I'm not a dietitian or I'm not a doctor, but this is pretty easy few tips for you, just taking under consideration that insulin is our big problem. However, I understand that we're all human, and I understand that we need to indulge a little bit sometimes, and nobody's telling you not to. I used to be very, very restrictive if it goes to food. I am not that anymore. I'm very happy that I restarted how I feel about food, that I restarted my taste buds, because you can do it. And I really need people to understand that as much in every part of life, every change is so little. It's very small steps, little by little, until you're a completely different person and you're thinking, how the hell did I get there? 5 years ago, I wouldn't touch a vegetable. Last 2 weeks, I've been eating only salads because it's been so hot that I couldn't just touch anything that was hot. So you can change, your taste buds can change. If you give your body what it needs, it will also stop craving. So take that under consideration. And that has been it. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps my channel a lot, especially with YouTube algorithm nowadays. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And you can also now buy me a coffee, which helps my channel a lot. If you want to help me buy back my time so I can do more of this, that would be fantastic. You can support me right there. And that is it. So I will see you next week.